Next on News 4 Live at 5:30, businesses are cleaning up this evening after last night's protest in downtown Tucson. The latest details when News 4 at 5:30 starts next.
We've got you covered. This is News 4 Tucson, live at 5:30.
What I saw was not Tucson. And it's not going to be what moves us forward.
That was Tucson Mayor Regina Romero hours ago addressing the public on last night's protest. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Danelle Confair. Since the disturbing video of George Floyd's death involving a former Minneapolis police officer was spread widely online, people have been protesting in cities across the country, including right here in Tucson. Last night, hundreds gathered in downtown Tucson to protest the death of George Floyd. Some reportedly smashed windows, set dumpster fires, and tagged walls in the downtown area. Tucson police responded in riot gear to control the crowds. According to Tucson police, 4 people involved in the demonstration were arrested. This afternoon, Tucson Mayor Regina Romero, along with Tucson Police Chief Chris Magnus, held a briefing over last night's events. News 4 Tucson's David Kelly attended the briefing and joins us live from the University of Arizona. David.
Hey, thanks, Danelle. The mayor and the police chief were flanked at that press conference today by members of Tucson's black community, and they want their fellow Tucsonans to know that the mayhem that was associated with last night's protest is not representative of their views. They all spoke at that press conference today. Mayor Regina Romero, in fact, became emotional when she talked about watching the death of George Floyd earlier this week.
We heard his desperate cries for help, cries we have heard before. I can't breathe. It's heartbreaking. It is maddening. It is senseless. Let's talk about last night. What I saw was not Tucson.
What happened last night was unacceptable. If we look at the film and we look at who was actually looting and who was actually there, they weren't people that looked like me. They were not black.
There's a difference between protesters and pirates. Pirates steal and hijack. Protesters peacefully march. What we're seeing last night were not protesters. They were pirates that came to hijack the entire purpose and agenda of standing up for the justice of George Floyd.
Now, we are on campus here tonight because there is supposed to potentially be another protest that starts here at the old main building. One of the other speakers at that press conference today was Doris Snowden. She is the president of the Tucson local chapter of the NAACP. That is the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. She did not mince words when she said and where she believes what we're seeing around this country, where the fault for that lies. She said, quote, "The leader of this nation incites violence." We've got you covered here on what happens tonight, whatever happens tonight in Tucson. We're here at the old main campus, U of A. I'm David Kelly, News 4 Tucson.
All right, thanks, David. As a result of the protests in downtown Tucson, many buildings were damaged and vandalized, leaving local business owners to pick up the pieces. News 4 Tucson's Mark Mangura joins us live from downtown with what it looks like. Mark.
Yeah, that's right, Danelle. Businesses are understandably disappointed that last night's protest turned violent, but I spoke to a few who said they understand where the anger's coming from. And for now, they're fixing what they can, and they just hope that it doesn't get any worse.
The protest left windows damaged and buildings vandalized, a result that many were hoping to avoid after this was set to be a peaceful protest.
When we got down here, the windows were broken up, the crowds were dispersed, all the dumpsters were on fire in the streets. It's kind of a chaotic scene.
Today, businesses are boarding up their broken windows after already having struggled through the COVID-19 crisis. Some who weren't affected last night have still boarded up, just in case this happens again.
These businesses are already hurting from the COVID-19 shutdown. This doesn't help anybody, and it doesn't deliver the right message.
Charles Del Rey was going to reopen, but after last night's events, they've decided to stay closed after this setback.
We're all about the protests as long as they're peaceful, but we're it's a family-owned business. We're local restaurateurs. I come to work here every day. We were planning on reopening, and now we can't.
Hours after businesses started to clean up their shops, members of the community came out to spread another message: be kind.
But as soon as you cross over the line and start breaking people's private property and window, that just turns people off. And so we're sending a message here that simply says, this is the Tucson message, this is who we are.
With another night of potential protests on the way, everyone affected so far can only hope that message is heard. In a message from Tucson Police Chief Chris Magnus today, he estimates that over $200,000 in damages occurred last night. In regards to protests tonight, he said that physical arrests, not cite and releases, will be made tonight if necessary. We've got you covered from downtown. I'm Mark Bangura, News 4 Tucson.